Okay, I made this thumbnail for Botgrinder and the Philly Drone Life interview. And the question that I have is, what happened? What happened? This video didn't tank, but it didn't rip. And the question is why? What happened? What is it about this video that didn't make it perform like some of Botgrinder's videos have recently? If it's your first time along, welcome. My name's Mike. Pilots, YouTube nerds, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, friends beyond the binary, welcome along to another thumbnail teardown. So I make thumbnails for people. One of those people is Botgrinder. We are going to take a look at the thumbnail itself, the process that I use to make the thumbnail. And we're going to look at some of the analytics, some of the data that came through from it. And we're going to try and work out why things happened and why things didn't happen. That is the plan for today. As well as that, actually, we are also going to talk at the end of this video about redoing thumbs. Is there any point? I redid the thumbnail for this video over here, the gel blaster drone thumbnail. I redid that. We put it up I think a week ago, and we're gonna have a little chat about whether there was any point and whether it has changed anything. Is it too soon to tell? I don't know. JSpin FPV, welcome along. Now, let's start by looking at what happened. How did it go? Okay, let's have a look. How did it go? Well, you can see it right here. 14,000 views is what we got, which is okay. It's okay. Our target is between 10 and 20,000 views. We have been smashing that recently with like 35s, which has been great, but has potentially, you know how it is when you get good results, you then kind of think, well, is this the new normal? Do we need to change our targets now? Or are we targeting too low? And you start to get a little bit too comfortable with the success. And then when you get a result that's in your targets, you're like, oh, that hurts. Why is it not as good as it was? But you have to draw yourself back and remember, this is where we wanted to be. This is where we were aiming. So this is okay, even though it's not as good as the ones that we're thrashing. Does that make sense? That's how I'm trying to reconcile it with myself anyway. So 14,000 views, a regular amount of regular amount of engagement, 14,000 views, regular amount of engagements, 347 comments and 1,000 likes. That is all pretty much in the ballpark of what usually happens. So we saw a video recently from Botgrinder which had exceptional engagement, which was the Are Influencers Ruining FPV video, which had, best part of 900 comments and best part of, well, it had more than 3,000 likes. So that is a video absolutely thrashing. Even the one from the one before this, which was the kind of vlogish one, that had a more reasonable amount of comments. See how this is right in the ballpark of the comments we've just seen? It's got 2.1 thousand likes. So it's got double the likes of the Philly Drone Life video, which is actually kind of interesting. So do we read from that? What I can't see is the dislike, obviously, but do we read from that? That's a very good question for Botgrinder, is whether there was a big ratio in this video, whether there was a like to dislike ratio. But this was a really interesting video in terms of the content, because for anyone who doesn't know, if there's people watching this who are into thumbnails who aren't into drones, Philly Drone Life's, I suppose, a controversial character. You can make your own mind up about that by watching the video and watching some other videos about him, watching some of his content. Essentially, he's being dragged through a court process. They're trying to fine him a lot of money for flying drones around. That's all I'll say about that, really. That's kind of a fact about what's happening. There's a lot of conversation about it in the space at the moment. And for that reason, I think I thought this was almost a sure shot. Like as a video, this was almost a guarantee. Now, one thing also to work out about this video is that it was dual uploaded. It was uploaded on Philly Drone Life's channel as well. Let's just have a look at how it performed over there because he actually used one of the alternate thumbs. So it got 3K views over on Philly Drone Life's channel. It's a slightly different intro, but it's the same content. So that hit 3K views and 327 likes, 150 comments. So the engagement in terms of the comments was real good. It was half of what Botgrinder got. I don't know what his videos do, to be honest, generally speaking. If we go to his most recent videos, so the views are about right, from what we can see, 2.4, 3.9, 2.2, 4.94, 2.1, 1.8. So it's actually on the, yeah, I'd say that's pretty average. Well, what's up, Botgrinder? Welcome to the chat. You might be able to answer this live on air, or you might not want to. But anyway, so in terms of how it performed over on Philly's channel, I would say it performed about the same as it did over on Botgrinder's channel, which is to say that it was okay. It was within our kind of targets. Botgrinder, what I was speculating about was whether we saw much of a like to dislike ratio on this one because the likes were lower than usual. Outwardly looking, it was only 1K, whereas our previous video had 2, although it did get a ton more views. If you're willing to share that, Botgrinder, that would be really interesting to know if there were many dislikes on this video, because I suppose it is a polarizing conversation for some people. It's a no-brainer for others. Actually, it's probably a no-brainer on both sides. So that's kind of a little bit of background of what the video was in terms of like what the heat behind it and what was happening in the space around it and why there was conversation behind it. That was a thing. We and before we uploaded this video, when I mentioned it on last week's stream, when I mentioned it then, I said, I made some little notes to myself here. It's going to be really interesting to look at this data because the challenge is going to be working out, was it the thumbnail? Was it the trend? Was there search views on this one? Which part of the whole ecosystem was it? Which part of the process was it that actually caused this video to do okay? So what happened in terms of how well it did, and also what happened in terms of how well it didn't? Maybe that's more of a look into the thumbnail potentially. So let's have a look at some stats, shall we? Let's get a look at some information here. So this is going to be quite hard to see on the screen, so I'll do my best to scroll in. So what we're looking at is not many green ticks. What you want to see here in the back end is green ticks, because that shows you whether things are doing better or worse. If there's no tick at all, it's pretty much same as usual. So in terms of it's not giving us that for impressions click-through rate, but it's definitely down, I would say. 8.1% overall is what we're looking at. 113 impressions for 13K views for 8.1%. Pretty much that's how it is. How did viewers find this video? Okay, we got some browse. We got 75% from browse. It was being shown to people, so that's good. What that tells me, it was being shown to people and people were either clicking on it and not watching huge amounts of it, or they were or that they were clicking on it, or they weren't, or they were being shown it and not clicking on it. Do you know what I mean? So that leads us to our numbers here. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's not a great result on that one. It's okay. It's only okay. I then asked, I asked Botgrinder to dig into that one a little bit and give me that impressions click-through rate graph, so I can see that we got around 10%. Now that's okay. 10% in the first day. That's pretty reasonable. Then I think we're getting a little bit more. We're getting shown to the feed a little bit more, which means we're down below 4% here. So averaging out at 8.1%, which is okay. A little bit of uptick in the last sort of 48 hours, which is all right. Can't complain with that. So we looked at that one. Let's have a look in here. This is an interesting one for this video because there's something else that's really obvious about this one, right? Which is that it is a long video. It was over half an hour long. And this is another one that that can look bad, but actually I'm really happy with. So the average percentage viewed of this video was 11 minutes and 14 seconds. 31% of a half hour video ain't too bad when Botgrinder's audience is not used to content of that length. Certainly not from him. He's a 10 to 13 minute, generally speaking. He's just about to release a shorter one. Don't worry about that. He's a 10 to 13 minute video creator, generally speaking. So 31%, not too bad. Not too bad. Oh, I can see the ratio here. Here we go. So the Philly Drone Life interview was 98.4% like. So it wasn't that the video was ratioed that led us to the low like numbers. What we mean by ratioed is if it's like 50-50 likes and dislikes, if there's a big difference in those like and dislike numbers. So that's okay. I like those numbers. People did watch the content. They engaged with the content. They genuinely liked the content because we didn't get a huge dislike number. Because actually it performed better than Bot's general ratio. His general ratio is 97.5%, and that one was 98. So people did appreciate that, which is not too bad at all. We'll take that. Key moments for audience retention. It's just saying intro there. I'm not sure whether that's a little glitchy or if that's the actual data. It's hard to tell without being able to click into it myself, but that's all right. Here's how the views shaped up. So this is our audience. And these are returning viewers versus new viewers. So not many new viewers. We haven't done a great job with new viewers in this one. We got a couple, literally just a few in that first 4-day stretch. 24 subs, which is actually not that much for a video of this sort of length, I guess. This has been a real interesting one. So what can we draw from this? Did we achieve our goal of pulling in new viewers with this one? I don't know. Not really. Was it subject matter that would pull in new viewers, though? Arguably, I'm not sure if it was. That's not a reflection on the content or the channel or anything like that. It's just some videos are more appealing to new viewers and some views than others. General looking demographics. Oh my days, there was actually a female audience for this of 0.7%. I'll be damned. You don't often see that on FPV videos. Watch time from subscribers. So here we go. This is huge. This is huge. This is big data here. Okay, so you're often wondering, how many of my subscribers are watching. This is just, look at this engaged audience. 74% of the watch time on this video is from subscribers. That's wild. Usually this graph's completely the other way around. That's really interesting. Massively engaged audience, and this was deep stuff. This was for the audience, Okay, this was a very insular video in terms of content on the channel, and that's okay. That's okay. Let's look at the actual thumbnail itself and have a think about just the makeup of it. So I'm gonna have to reverse engineer this one because, like, weirdly enough, I didn't really. I sort of had a vision for this one and went for it, and there weren't a huge amount of revisions in terms of the overall theme. We did change things with the little message here, the little Discord message that we've now used twice in a row. We've actually used this image twice in a row as well, just because it's a really good image, And the Discord message thing worked in the last video. So, if it works, why reinvent it, So where did we start with this one? Let's go back to the start here. And let's maybe chuck a new page in as well. We can start breaking this apart. So I this is my copy, so I can just tear this apart actually. So in this one, what I did is I started with this guy here. He didn't have horns on. Started with this image, which is just a guy, like a judge in front of a kind of "In God We Trust" background. I blurred that out and sort of brought him forward with a little bit of color treatment. Like went dark on the red with him to make him look mad. Stuck the horns on to make him look extra mad and demonic. I think he pops out from that background pretty well. And then what I wanted was just Botgrinder on one side, our man Philly Drone Life on the other, and the judge looming over them, right? Because this thing is looming over Philly Drone Life. And I was this photo of him. I wanted Botgrinder to grab a photo for me. The opportunity didn't come up when he was doing the interview. I think they had some tech shit to deal with during the interview anyway, and it became a bit of a pain. But I found this thumbnail here on Philly Drone Life's channel, in which, for whatever reason, I think he was trying to look puzzled, but he just looks really worried. And like that was perfect because obviously this is scary and this is worrying, and that tells a story. That facial expression there. Bot's like, "Yo, take this serious," and he's talking to you, the viewer, because he's looking straight at you. Take this serious. And Philly Drone Life's so serious. And then we've got our man in the background hanging over them, given that thirds 1, 2, 3, that 3-part thing, which is cool. Nothing much extra going on there, but then we added a little bit of narrative with the Discord message. I quite lit this one. "I'll talk," and then he writes another message, "but only to you," because it was an exclusive, right? Apart from like writing exclusive, which I think was in the I think it might have been at some point in the thumbnail, in the title, or maybe not, but we knew it was going to be exclusive. He wasn't talking to anyone else. So essentially all I did from there was tinker around with the placement of this message. And I think, and this is where we ended up, was the large lower central, just a lot of symmetry around our little devil man in the middle. He also got flames put behind him for extra hellfire, for extra demonic scariness. And then we had these different messages. "I'll talk, but only to you" was the one we flew with in the end. "Okay, let's do it." As in he's just been like, "Right, okay, I'm ready to talk." And then just you're plain and simple, "It's time to talk." Which one did Philly Drone Life use? I forget. Philly Drone Life. He used "It's time to talk." Okay, cool. So they both performed pretty well. They both performed fairly similarly based on the channels that they're on. So I was pretty happy that I think all of them would have worked. I think my favorite is "I'll talk, but only to you." I think that's the most dramatic, and "It's time to talk" is a little bit cliche in thumbnails these days, but you know, that's all right. They both went up and they both worked, and the video performed. So, how did it go? What's good? What's good about this is what I've said. It's fairly standard, and I think it tells a narrative and it draws you in and it works well with titles. What could be better? What could be better? If you're, I mean, going back to our goal of trying to get new viewers in, this might have been an uphill battle in that respect. It might have just been. So I have kind of goals that I keep in mind for Botgrinder's channel, but they don't always fit Botgrinder's goals and because his channel is his outlet for his art, which is his videos, and art's not about hitting goals necessarily, right? So we do have a different take on it. He has a much more artistic take than I have, but he totally gets what I'm talking about in terms of the stats and the performance and everything. With this one, I think this was an uphill battle to make this work for a new audience. So the best we could hope for is that we make this one work as good as possible for the current audience. And I think we did that. Because of this like ratio down here. Oops, you can't see that. Because of this like ratio down here, the 98.4% like to dislike ratio, and also this metric here, the watch time from subscribers. In terms of making content that his subscribers wanted to watch, we absolutely did that. So it's hard to answer the question, what could be better in terms of that, because the honest answer would be a different video, and that's not a fair answer because this is the story that Botgrinder wanted to tell, and it was super important. I support that totally. No confusion there. But it's a hard one to say how it could have been better. You don't serve up exactly the same video every week, otherwise people get bored and wander off. Like, that's also a thing. So, in conclusion, went okay. Went all right, didn't it? I did want to pull up another video just out of interest, just because it had a similar kind of composition in a thumbnail, and that was the Dead Cell podcast. Their latest episode had the same kind of the same layout, right? Come on now, give me that thumbnail. So it had just your 1, 2, 3 faces, you know, same as we had with this one. 1, 2, 3. And it also had font down the bottom. So there's a lot of similarities in the shape of this thumbnail compared with the one that we've just done. Arguably, we've got our little devil man in the middle. You know what I mean? It's slightly different because we're not highlighting him. They're using their faces to frame their guest, whose name I forgot, but he's a Betaflight dev. Did they put that in the description? Oh, there he is, Ivan Efimov Limon. He has a podcast too. Fun. So they used their faces as a framing device for him. And I think possibly I wasn't framing the devil. I was using the devil to tell the story of these two, but very similar. How did that one do in Dead Cell? And in terms of Dead Cell videos, I think it's pretty standard. It's not huge because they did 10K last episode. With the title Botgrinder got sued and Grim Ripper died. That's such a ballsy title. I love that, first of all. But I think in terms of this latest one, it did 1.9, which is they're also doing a new release strategy as well. So there's many reasons that I can't comment on because I don't have any data. But so it is what it is. It did 1.9, still getting 100 views an hour at the moment, so that's cool. It's still growing, but it's going to do pretty average, I would say, probably within their target. Same as Botgrinder's one did pretty average within his target. Same as Philly Drone Life did pretty average and within what I assume is his target because it performed like any other one of his videos. So there you go. That's my cool story about that thumbnail. I think it did okay. What I'm pulling from this though, right? What we could potentially, this might be conjecture. This might be getting fully fully into the realms of tinfoil hat, but let's just look at this absolute stark data. Three faces. They both did okay. Maybe this just isn't a good format. Maybe that is true. Have we ever tried this format before on Botgrinder's channel? Hold on now. Botgrinder, have we tried this format before? With three faces. Yes, we have. And it didn't go well. Well, hang on a minute. Here's four faces. So influencers is four faces, but there's a lot more going on. They're more background, I would say. We've got three faces here on the I Watched That Drone Racing movie, so you don't have to. It kind of stank as well. 11K views still is what it's sitting on. This one as well, flying drones in the subway. Just Botgrinder's face and Grim Ripper's face there. Again, I mean, that's two though. There's no correlation there because we've also got the New York flying video, which has two faces and absolutely ripped. It's currently it's the second most viewed video. So the two face is good sometimes. Fuck you, YouTube. 2 faces good sometimes. 3 faces not good, I don't think, because reasons. The ones I said a minute ago. I hope you wrote them down. Okay, it's getting rambly now. Let's talk about redoing thumbnails, okay? Let's talk about redoing thumbnails and whether there is any point. I keep seeing videos from arseholes on the internet who want you to sign up to their course. And they'll always tell you how they went back and they redid their thumbnail for this video from 2021 and it blew up and got 1 million views. We redid this thumbnail. We've done a lot of these ones now for the gun drone. We started with, oh, it wasn't that one exactly. I think we started with that one. Then we switched to, what did we switch to? I can't find a copy of gun drone. Come on now. Yeah, then we switched to this one here. So yeah, started with that, switched to that, and now we're sitting here, and none of it has made a bit of difference. So I'm getting annoyed with this video now. We suspected potential shadow banning because of keywords, because we used the word gun and gun on drone. I'm not sure. I'm not sure though. It just, I don't know. But essentially what's happened is square root of fuck all. It's still on 12k views. I think it was on 11k when we put the third thumbnail on it, but nothing actually changed of any significance. Where's it sitting in terms of views per hour? Is it actually doing anything? Oh, there it goes. No, it's not. It's not showing any views per hour at the moment, so it might be dead. It might have died, everyone. That's a shame. That's a real shame. Maybe it'll appear in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Maybe those views will jump up and something will happen and I'll be proved wrong. But as far as I can tell, changing a thumbnail on a video is no use to anyone. Right, there we go. I think that's us for today. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Next week, the video's not out yet for the regular public. It's on Patreon at the moment, Botgrinder's Patreon. And it is about the best goggles ever. 2024's best FPV goggles, best FPV goggles 2024, #best. It's going to be good. Look out for that one. Subscribe to Botgrinder's channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel if talking about thumbnails is your jam. All right. I'm out. Peace.